Okay, so thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. My name is Jessica Hernandez. I am a family advocate here at the Mountain Communities Family Resource Center. I just to give you a brief description of myself, I am a mom of 3 boys. I live here in Fraser Park as well. So I find parenting styles to be interesting. So I eat this kind of information up. I will be doing a raffle at the end. So if you would like to put your name in the chat, you can enter for that. And feel free to speak up if you have any questions or comments. So with that being said, I will go ahead and start. So parenting style definition is parenting styles defined as a constellation of parents' attitudes and behaviors towards children and an emotional climate in which the parents' behaviors are expressed. So this is a question I have for anyone that would like to answer. If you were trying to explain your approach to parenting to anybody, how would you describe it? Does anybody have any say?
I guess my approach to parenting is on the easy side. Um, but it's hard to say because he's also 5 months old, so I haven't really gotten to know who he is yet.
Okay. I personally, I think I kind of use a combo of styles. Now that I kind of have an idea of the different styles, but really I'm just trying to create some responsible, respectful, and successful young men. So that's my goal. Why is understanding parenting styles important? It's important to walk the walk and don't just tell your child what you want them to do, but show them. So understanding parenting styles, it serves a lot of purposes, really, in the relationship of parents with their children. When we understand how to positively parent our children, it helps with their morale and just their psychological training, their growth, their development, and just getting them used to the social norms. There's already, established styles of parenting, but some of us are just winging it, trying to do our best, like myself. A lot of us are raising our children the way we saw our own parents raise us, and we're just kind of going with that. So what are the different styles of parenting? There's 4 styles that are based on responsiveness and demand. There's many styles actually, but I'm going to go over the 4 classic styles. Some are more aggressive styles of parenting, while others are a little bit softer and less demanding. We all obviously want to raise our kids to their best potential, so we really need to keep that in mind when we're parenting them. We need to remember that how we raise them plays a big part in who they eventually become. So here's the 4 different styles that have been established. You can kind of get an idea just by looking at these pictures. For those of you here, when you look at this image of the different styles, is there anything that stands out to you?
Sorry, yeah, for me, the thing that stands out is uninvolved. I think that's how, seeing my parents grow up, that's how they were. And I'm going to be honest, I do get addicted to the phone sometimes. So my baby, gets upset. He's like, he'll smack the phone out of my face. So I'm trying not to do that, but man, they just make these phones like crack. It's just so
I
addicting.
know. Hey, but you recognize it. You recognize it.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, I'm trying to get off of it.
It's okay. So I'll explain these styles a little bit just by looking over them, get a little bit more in depth about each style. And I'm also going to show you guys video clips that show each of these styles as well, so that you can see them in action and maybe even recognize your own style.
Jessica, one of the things that Ashley mentioned in the chat that stood out to her is in that second picture, the authoritative one, she noticed like getting on the child's level and really being kind of right next to them.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's one of the key points in that one. So if we look at this picture, we see 4 different styles. We see authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved. And those are the 4 styles that we're going to go over today. So if you look at the authoritarian picture, you can tell that the parent's like angry and his arms are closed and he's looking down at his child and he just looks really unhappy. The permissive style, she's just got her hands up like whatever, kids are just gonna do what they want. Kids will be kids, like it says. The authoritative parent, if you look at this picture, yes, she is on the child's level. She has her arm around her, calm looking, the child looks calm. And then uninvolved, the parent is not interacting or even near the child at all. The child's playing by himself outside, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but when your child is playing by themselves all the time without their parent, that's when it becomes an issue. So I am going to show you a clip from the movie Matilda. And out of those 4 styles that I just showed you, I want you to see if you can figure out which one it is without looking at the title.
The onlookers were so wrapped up in their own silly lives that they barely noticed they had it. I guess they can help us. As time went on, Matilda's older brother Michael went to school. About, and I know them to go to the baby. So far, you don't need it up to get hungry. Matilda was left alone. Tonight, she got up her courage and asked her father for something she desperately wanted. A book? What do you want a book for? Read? How could you want to read when you had the puppet sits right in front of you? There's nothing different if you can't get to the television fast. Well, wait. She saw that whatever she needed in this world, she'd have to get herself.
So Jessica, that was a little quiet. So I wonder if you would be able to turn up the volume on the next one. I'm not sure if it's on full volume.
It is
But
on full volume.
We did have a guess in the chat from Vanessa. So she says that's uninvolved parenting.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, you are right. So this is the neglectful and uninvolved parenting. Okay, so for uninvolved, neglectful parenting, this type of parent, there's no boundaries, little support, little nurturance or guidance, uninvolved and absent, just indifferent to the child's social, emotional, and behavioral needs. This style right here is the bottom of the totem pole for parenting styles. This is not recommended. Neglectful parents are uninvolved in their child's life. They don't meet the needs of their child's needs, and that's basic or emotional. There's just no boundaries. With that being said, with a little nurturing or guidance from their parents, they, like the movie clip you saw, the little girl was left to fend for herself. And a lot of times children who are raised by this type of parent, that's exactly what they're doing. They're left to feed themselves, dress themselves, and just kind of figure it out. And a lot of times the children who are raised in this style fare the worst. But examples of the uninvolved parenting would be, you know, showing no warmth or affection toward your child, or just acting indifferent or distant, almost like treating them like they're a stranger versus their own child. You don't see this parent around very often. Why would someone be this type of parent? From what I saw, a lot of the times a parent goes this route is because of something called intergenerational transmission of neglect parenting style. And, you know, that's what they came from. So, you know, children that have been neglected, you know, research shows that they are almost 3 times more likely to become neglectful to their own children, and twice as likely to become physically abusive themselves. So it's that lead by example that I had mentioned, showing them how to parent, the chances are high that they'll parent in that same way. A lot of times there's mental health that can cause this kind of neglectful behavior. And a common cause also is substance abuse in the family. There's really no positives to this parenting style. This child might become a very independent person, but they really can develop in a poor way. So the adverse effects could be being impulsive, low self-control, being an underachiever, fewer emotional regulation skills, low self-esteem, increased chance of mood disorders, and also they can develop borderline personality disorders. Neglected children of substance abuse parents are 4 to 10 times more likely to develop substance abuse themselves. So next I'm going to show you another video clip. And I hope it's loud enough for you guys. And then once again, I'd like to know what you think this style may be.
Angel, we're doing the best we can. I've got every girl on the bleeding staff looking for you. All right, what is it? Veruca, sweetheart, I'm not a magician. Give me time. For 5 days now, the entire food factory's been on the job. They haven't shelled a peanut in there since Monday. They've been shelling flaming chocolate bars from dawn to dusk. Look at that night. Sweetheart, I can't push them no harder. 19,000 bars an hour they're selling. 760,000 they've done so far. You promised, Daddy. You promised.
You're going to be very unpopular around here, Henry, if you don't deliver soon.
This breaks my heart. I hate to see her unhappy.
I won't talk to her again. You're. I won't go to.
Veruca, sweetheart, angel. There are only 4 tickets left in the whole world, and the whole ruddy world's hunting for them. What can I do?
Action band.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I could like feel the pressure of the child pressing on her parent there. Does anyone have an idea of what parenting style that could be between, so we still have permissive, authoritarian, or authoritative? All right, I'll give you the answer.
We did have a guess in the chat. We had a couple. One said authoritative, like wants to punish, and then some said permissive.
Okay, so this one is the permissive parenting style. So for permissive parenting, this style comes with low expectations, child-driven, excessive responsiveness, spoiling, overindulging your child to avoid conflict, and few or inconsistent rules. So with that video we just saw from Willy Wonka, a lot of those bullet points hit right on there. It was child-driven. What she said was how it went. The dad was just on it. He responded to what she wanted. And he gave her what she wanted in order to make her happy. So with permissive parenting, which you may also hear it referred to as indulgent parenting, this style of parenting features two key traits. Being nurturing and warm, which is good. And being reluctant to impose limits, which is problematic. So permissive parents are high on responsiveness, but low on the demanding side of things. This type of parent rejects the whole notion of keeping their kids under control. These parents share this, they do share some similarities with authoritative parents because they do show the high levels of warmth towards their child. And they're emotionally supportive and responsive, which is good for both types. But the parents aren't demanding. So kids have few responsibilities. They don't encourage their kids to meet their, behavior standards that most adults would. Mostly the kids are regulating themselves. The parents don't present themselves as authority figures or role models. They might use reason or manipulation or like spoiling their child to get what they want so that they can avoid having to use any type of demanding power. So now I'm going to show you the third movie clip from the movie Brave, and we will go over that.
Authoritative.
I'm the example. I've got duties, responsibilities, expectations. What a life is planned out. To the end of the day, I become my mother. She's in charge every single day of my life. Anywhere and run. I have a princess must be knowledgeable about her kingdom. It does mean you. What does it mean? Princess will not be thoughtful. That is stuff of dog. Rises every compassion, patience, caution, clean, and above all, a princess strong for exception.
Okay, so as you can see, this is authoritarian style of parenting. In this video clip, I noticed how this young girl had no say over anything she did. Everything was directed by her mom, and anything that she did that was her style, her mom corrected. So with that being said, bear with me, guys. Okay. Authoritarian parenting style. This is a very parent-driven parenting style. They have high expectations, strict rules, punishments, disciplined, can be unsupportive, and tends to be one-way communication with little consideration of the child's social, emotional, and behavioral needs. So with authoritarian parenting style, this is low in responsiveness, but high in demandingness. So this parent likes to tell the child how it is, but doesn't really want to hear what the child has to say. The parent might use hostile control or harsh punishments in a way to gain compliance, but rarely provides an explanation or allows a verbal give and take. This is a strict parenting style. Parents expect the kids to follow the rules without any discussion. A lot of times this style is used because parents are following what they saw. It might be because of nationality or culture or ethical background. We mimic what we see. So sometimes that's where an authoritarian parent might learn their ways of parenting. These children tend to be punished if the rules are not followed, and punishment can sometimes be abusive in a physically or an emotional way. Orders are to be followed, and like I said before, just no explanation is given. It's kind of like a because I said so type thing, and parents who use this style often feel that the obedience is what equals the love. Open communication just isn't really an option. And this style usually takes complete and total control over the family. It's not considered to be the most ideal style of parenting because while boundaries and expectations are healthy and recommended, they need to be balanced with a loving and warm side, respect for your child. It's not considered a positive style. I did find that children who come from the authoritarian parents are more likely to become independent and self-reliant and socially accepted, do well in school and just be well behaved. But as far as being positive on an emotional level, it just doesn't really meet that. From the outside, this might look really bossy or mean. So I'm going to show you a clip from the last style. As you can see, this is the Lion King.
Looks, everything that is a king. A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day someday, the sun will set and will rise.
What about that shadow?
That's beyond. We'll go this.
I thought it came from the
Focus on the king getting away with.
What?
Simba, I'm very disappointed. You could have been killed. You deliberately disobeyed me. And what's worse, you put Nala in danger.
Just trying to be brave like you.
I'm only brave when I have to be. Simba, being brave doesn't mean you go looking for something.
You're not scared of things?
As today. Thought we would be ashamed.
Okay, so as you can guess, this is the authoritative parenting style. So the authoritative parent has clear rules and expectations, open communication with natural consequences, solves problems with the child, and is supportive. So I'm sorry if that video was kind of hard to hear, but I'd like to think that most of us have probably seen that movie and have an idea of kind of what happened there. Simba went into the land that his dad told him not to. And he upset his dad, but his dad calmly but clearly explained to him why that was not a good idea. So with authoritative parenting, these parents tend to be on the nurturing, more responsive and supportive side. They do tend to set firm limits with their children. This is characterized by high responsiveness and high expectations. So they set limits and are consistent with their boundaries. They attempt to control their children's behavior by explaining the rules and discussing and reasoning. They listen to their child's viewpoint, but don't always accept it. So with that last sentence, they listen to the child, allowing them to feel heard, but don't always accept. So it's similar to authoritarian parenting in the sense that the parent doesn't always have that, or the parent does want to have that control over the child. The child's allowed to be heard in the relationship, even if the parent doesn't agree or follow through with what the child thinks or wants. With this parenting style, being warm and aware to the child, listening, allowing and encouraging autonomy or independence, reasoning instead of demanding the blind obedience. Our children are not born knowing what we expect of them. So just because they are our kids doesn't mean that we still don't need to show them the ropes and, you know, show them how to we still have to like earn their respect. You know, we got to show them how to be that way. And this comes by leading by example. Studies find that children of authoritative parents tend to be happier, more content. They're independent, self-reliant, good with their emotional regulation and self-control. They have a good understanding of social skills, and they're just they have positive attitudes and high levels of warmth. They tend to have higher academic success and good self-esteem. These kids have an overall better mental health compared to the other styles that I explained. So with that being said, there's also other parenting styles that we may have heard of, maybe more commonly heard of than the styles that I have mentioned, like helicopter parenting or free range parenting or instinctive parenting. I'm going to briefly go over those as well. A lot of you may have heard of the term helicopter parenting. I know that term stuck out to me. I feel like I've heard it a lot more lately. Over the last few years anyways. But with helicopter parenting, it is something that's actually been around for quite some time. It was termed back in the 60s, and it was because teens were using it to talk about how their parents would hover over their lives. It refers to a style of parenting where the parents are just overly focused on their children. They take way too much responsibility for their child's experiences, specifically their successes and their failures. An example of helicopter parenting would be, you know, just taking control over the adult child's life, such as writing their graduate school applications or calling potential employers. Free range parenting, this is not to be confused with uninvolved or neglectful style of parenting. The style allows children to learn from their own choices without their parents' intervention to an extent. It's about allowing kids to have the freedom to experience natural consequences of their behaviors. And it's about ensuring that kids have the skills that they need to become responsible adults. An example of free range parenting might be allowing your child to take the bus or walk alone to school. This style of parenting is a little similar, or it reminds me of how my mom parented me and my sisters. I remember summer days. We were able to just do what we pleased. We left in the mornings, we were on our bikes, we were at a friend's house, we were at the park, we went to the store to get candies, we were playing in the woods. So it's a little familiar to me. My dad wasn't like that, but my mom was. So the next one that I wanted to tell you about is the instinctive parenting. We all have probably come across somebody who would like to give us some unsolicited advice. And sometimes we would rather go with our own gut feeling on how we should parent our child. So instinctive parenting is based on the idea that we are hardwired to be able to be parents and to understand how to parent our children. It's typically a trust your gut rather than following what we might have read or heard from somebody. An example might be, a mom who read or was told by somebody, you need to feed your baby every 3 to 4 hours and not more than that or not less than that. But this parent might not want to go with that, and they want to go with how their baby is responding because their baby's crying, so their baby's hungry, so instead of waiting 3 hours they're going to wait 90 minutes. And I wish I could have been like this a little bit more with my own parenting. I wish I could have just trusted my own gut instincts versus trying to do what everything and everyone told me. So, question for anybody who would like to answer. What parenting style is best? Any guesses? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I know, because I know growing up in school, I was told authoritative is the best. No, authoritarian is the best. But with the new options, I think free range might be up there. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this based off of the 4 basic styles that I went off of. So with that being said, with the research that's been done, the best style for parenting is actually authoritative parenting. This is the best form of parenting among the 4 styles, and it generally produces the best outcomes in children. It enforces positive parenting, and that is the key to be positive. But that doesn't mean, that you're always got to be parenting with a smile on. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused when I say that. So positive parenting, I just kind of mentioned it in the last slide. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it. So like I said, positive parenting doesn't mean you're parenting with a smile on. It just means that you're trying to parent, showing your child love and warmth and kindness. And you're guiding your child to act the way you want by encouraging and teaching them. So it's that lead by example that I keep mentioning. About helping our children thrive, and sending the powerful message, that you are loved, you are good enough, you matter. And whenever I think about that, I just try to think back to when I was a child, and I just wonder how I would be as an adult if I knew as a child that I am good enough, that I matter, that I'm loved. I think it's really important that we show that. Positive parenting does set your child up for success. Research shows that the positive parenting helps your child do better all around, better in school, better behavioral problems, stronger mental health. And it helps a lot with the teenage brain. It's been shown that the positive parenting contributes to better functioning in the brain that's associated with the emotions and the cognition. I have a 12-year-old, so he's a preteen. And this topic right here, I'm really nervous about, and I'm trying really hard to make sure that he knows that he's loved and good enough and he matters. So positive parenting, it's linked to happy, healthy adulthood, has long-term benefits, including better relationships, mental health, and well-being during adulthood. In the next slide, I'm going to go over some tips on positive parenting using the PRIDE skills, which are 5 ways to positively improve your parenting. So the PRIDE skills, P is for praise. I love what they do. R for reflection, say what they say, imitation, do what they do, description, say what they do, and enjoyment, show warmth and enthusiasm. So with P for praise, we need to love what they do. We need to, every child loves to know that what they did was done well, and it shows them that you like that, that you like what they're doing. An example might be saying, good job waiting patiently while I was on the phone, or good job at your game today. You did great hitting the ball. Not only are you telling them good job, but you're also explaining to them exactly what the good job was for. For reflection, when we say what they say, this is also, you might be familiar with reflective listening. This involves repeating back to your child words and elaborating on what was said. It lets the child know that you're paying attention, and it communicates to them that I hear you and I get you. And it promotes the back and forth conversation, and it encourages children to start conversations and share their thoughts more frequently. I mean, it's more powerful than questions to get a child talking. A little fun fact, back and forth conversation with your child strengthens their language center of their brain. So for I for imitation, do what they do. We're imitating. It involves playing in a similar ways your child is, or making similar gestures. An adult imitating a child's actions is very flattering to the child. It sends a message that what you are doing is interesting and important, and I want to do this. You get on the child's level, and it helps with their social skills. When an adult imitates a child, the child is more likely to imitate the adult. And when we imitate each other, it's a great way to practice the back and forth social exchanges. So an example might be seeing your child eat something and then chiming in saying, that looks good. I think I want to eat that too. You know, something like that. D for description, say what they do. This involves describing what your child is doing, much like a sportscaster and giving a play-by-play narration. These descriptions, they let your child know that they have your attention and you're interested. This is big on their self-esteem. Descriptions help your children learn new words and concepts, such as their shapes, sizes, numbers, colors. An example might be your child says to their little brother, look, brother, this is my squishy ball. And then the parent responds with, you're showing little brother your squishy ball. You're teaching him all about it. E for enjoyment. Enjoyment means you're expressing the warmth and positivity with your words and your actions while you play and interact with your child. And that strengthens the parent-child bond. So you're adding warmth and excitement to the interaction, and that lets your child know that you really care about them and you enjoy spending that time together. It models positivity. Children pick up and mimic the emotions that they see in others. And so when you're cheerful, your child will more likely act positively. You know, you can also show enjoyment with your voice, you know, let your child know how much you enjoy being with them. Talking in a warm or animated voice and laughing together. An example might be meaningfully telling your child, I love you so much. So, what kind of parent are you? Now that we've gone over the various styles and skills, I'm wondering if maybe any of you have figured out what your parenting style is.
Boys, beat the tape.
Or do you like your
I'll
style?
get it right now.
Does anybody have any idea maybe what their own parenting style is now?
Go tell your brothers in the game room.
Or do you think maybe you need to change your style?
I have changed my style several times as a first with my first time with my child. I think I started off helicopter parenting because your first baby, you're just like. Then I tried to move to authoritative parenting, and have tried to kind of stick more to in between free range and positive parenting. But I feel like even with all of these styles, we're constantly trying to like pull from what works, because what works for one kid doesn't necessarily always work for the other one. Or like
Absolutely.
it works for a little while, but then they grow and change, and you're like square one.
Gotta tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
I
So-
definitely
Okay.
I definitely try to be an authoritative parent, but for sure, in terms of consistency, like authoritative parents keeping those
I don't know.
consistent
We'll go see.
expectations, it's hard when life gets busy, when I get tired, if I'm not feeling well, it's really hard to keep that consistency that I'm going for.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so now that we have gone over these styles, we maybe have recognized our styles. Maybe we're not happy with our style. I want you to not panic. Don't panic if you think your parenting hasn't been up to par. We're all struggling, and just like Aurora said, nobody's the same, no family's the same, no child's the same. We all have our own issues, but when it comes down to how we handle those issues,
Yeah.
now that we've educated ourselves on better parenting, we can practice those skills and move forward on a more positive note. There's always time for change when it comes to our parenting, and maybe we just need a refresher in parenting. It's really easy when you're a parent, through all stages, we can feel very burnt out and tired as a parent. But unfortunately, with our parenting job, it's not something we can leave like our regular job. We gotta stick it out. We gotta try to do our best. It's important to make sure that we are using a style that's supporting healthy growth and development, because the way we interact with our kids and how we discipline them, it has a lifelong impact.
So I'm sorry. So I can't put in like a 2-week notice or nothing like that.
Unfortunately, it doesn't apply. It just doesn't work. Nobody listens.
So Jessica, there's a really great question in the chat that I thought it might be worth discussing for a minute and seeing what tips people have. Someone asked, any tips for parenting with a partner that is completely different in their parenting style?
That can make it hard. That makes it very hard. And I know a lot of us are on that boat. I think as far as, parenting with someone who's not doing it the same way, all we can do is try our best, be open, communicate with our partner or the other parents, and just being open with our kids, just letting them know what you expect from them. It's going to be rare that two people see you completely eye to eye, so I think as far as I would say is just, do the best on your part. I don't know if anybody else might have some pointers. Maybe they're dealing with the same thing.
I have a couple of thoughts. One thing, and this will vary depending on, again, like sometimes you're not even partnered with that person, you're co-parenting, but you're not partnered. So you may not have as good communication if that's the case. But obviously I think communication is great if they're open to that and you can discuss it. I find with my husband, I will sometimes like find a little short article that highlights something that I think he needs to work on. We have a 13-year-old daughter that's growing up, and my husband has always been a little bit more controlling, and I can see where that's heading with like them butting heads. And so I really try to not sort of tell him, you're doing it all wrong, you know, here's how you should do it better, but just to bring up like one little thing at a time. Like, have you thought about this, or have you noticed? And I was reading this article, and you know, and so I kind of share it with him and try to just plant that seed. I'm trying to get him to read a whole book right now, but that's been a heavy lift. But I found that if I just approach like a teeny bit at a time to just say like, have you thought about this, or have you noticed how she responds to that? He's usually like, he doesn't want to hear it immediately, but he'll sometimes come back to it later and be like, okay, I was thinking about that some more. So those are a couple of things that but you're definitely not alone in that.
You know, I like how you said, you know, you might find something to let him read. I know with myself, even when it comes to something that's not parenting, but just anything, you know, sometimes we just don't think of certain ways of doing things, and all it takes is to hear it from somebody or hear it from somewhere, and it just kind of opens up, you know, the doors to like, oh, you know, maybe there is another option or another way of going about this. So I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, like, you know, just different options. There's many times, especially because I grew up in a single mother household, there's many times I've had to step down and just trust my husband, because he just knows and he's seen better versions of parenting than I have. But on top of that, I've also had to tell myself, like, we both want what's good for him. I have to trust that, you know, we're gonna do what's right. And if we don't, may there be space to fail.
Yeah, you know, it's really nice that you're open and you're willing to, you know, kind of let him have a kind of show you, you know, alternate ways of doing things. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Charlene had a great comment in the chat that I thought was a great idea too. She says, talk to your partner about the things you both agree on. So I love that idea of like, what can you talk about that you see eye to eye on? And then she said, from there, maybe that leads into like, where can you meet in the middle on something? So I love that, like
I
emphasizing.
like that too, you know, trying to meet in the middle. I agree. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate that. So guys, don't panic. That's the point. Don't panic. If you're not satisfied with your way of parenting, you know, just remember that we want to try and keep it positive. You know, we want to show good examples. So, with all that being said, I would like to end this workshop with a quote that I found. Your parenting style will affect how your child grows and develops. Pick the one that does the most good. So this kind of reiterates what I said on the last slide. How we parent, it affects how our children grow and develop. And I think it's safe to say that we all want the best for our children. So let's not forget that we are mirroring to them how to be successful and well-rounded people. Thank you guys so much for attending this workshop. I really appreciate it. I found this topic to be very beneficial to myself. I ran into this topic during college, and I run into it again. And I think there's a reason why it keeps popping up in my life, but I hope you all found some useful information in this. For those of you that have stayed for this presentation, I hope you make sure to put your name in the chat, or make sure that your name is on your image, so that way you can be entered into a raffle for the gift certificate. With that being said, I have two, well, I don't know if you guys can see them, two gift certificates, one for In the Wings and another one for Crow's Custom Cookies. So we'll be announcing that winner shortly if you want to put your name in there. Before we do that though, I wanted to share a few flyers with you about some upcoming things that we have going on here at the Family Resource Center. Also, any questions, comments before we go? Anybody? So prior or before I get to the flyers, I do want to mention how we offer here at the Resource Center. We have a program for family success coaching. So if parenting styles is something maybe you're interested in working on, that is something that we can help you with here with our family success coaching. You get your own family advocate for all of it. I am one of them. We personalize the family assistance, priority access to the resources, educational workshops you'll be able to attend. We do SMART goal planning, which that can be really helpful when it comes to, kind of getting yourself on track or getting your family on track. Maybe there's something that you really need to work on that you're just keep putting to the back, whether it be budgeting or better parenting or whatever it may be. We track milestones on your children. This is a program for children 0 to 5. So I do want to throw that out there. We can do home visits. We offer diapers, wipes, formula, other supplies. I myself was a part of this program way back when, and I can vouch that it's really beneficial.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have lots of newborn, 3 to 6 month old, 3 toddler, 4 toddler, 5 and 6 toddler clothes. Can I donate that to you guys?
Unfortunately, we just don't have the space for any type of clothing.
Okay.
I wish, because there's always someone who might be looking for it, but maybe you want to post it on Facebook, or maybe that way it goes to someone that is in need.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if anyone on the chat needs it, or you hear of someone who needs it, please direct them my way.
Great, thank you so much. And if anyone is interested, feel free to talk in the chat.
Here,
Yes, Aurora.
sorry, expecting 2 and twins. So yes, here.
Congratulations, Aurora. All right, guys. So the first flyer I wanted to show with you, we have Park Day coming up. It's going to be on Saturday, June 17th from 11 to 2 at the Fraser Mountain Park. We'll be having lunch, snacks, a petting zoo. There's going to be, you can do, get your child's ID. There's going to be games, foods, prizes, face painting. It's going to be fun. So everyone is welcome. I hope you guys can make it. You should stop by if you can. And then also, for those of you that do have children that are younger, on Wednesdays, we have our children's circle. We do it every Wednesday. Myself, as well as one of the other family advocates, we put it together. So for example, tomorrow we're having children's circle. It's going to be at the park. We're going to be having a guest speaking to the children about community service, but we're also going to be doing chalk play tomorrow. So we kind of do activities along those lines, that the smaller kids would enjoy doing. So come meet our advocates, meet the other parents, let the kids play, meet new friends. They usually end up wanting to go to the park once they're done. So it might be something that you are interested in.